Welcome to episode 20 of the Lyrical Breakdown. My name is Sia. So in today's episode of the Lyrical Breakdown, I'm going to be talking about the title track of my third solo album, Tapestries. Let's get it. Woo! So I got the title from, ironically, I got the title for the song Tapestries from Eclipse. Don't judge me, don't judge me, don't judge me, don't judge me. Eclipse by Stephanie Meyer. And there was this, at the end of the book, Bella talks about how her life has been a very bland tapestry of beiges and browns and very wallflower-esque colors that make you blend into the background. And since she's met the vampires and the werewolves, there've been gold threads and ruby threads that have brightened up and made her stand out. And I like that. And I thought to myself, that's essentially, or at least it's a metaphor for me, about how people weave into my life. And we all sort of together creating this incredible tapestry of my life. And I'm doing that for everybody I encounter in a big way and a small way. Sometimes it's just a stitch and I'm out, you know what I mean? But like, as is everybody else towards me. And I thought that's such a cool picture. And I looked at my tapestry at the time and it was ripped to shreds. It was torn. And I looked at it, it just had these jagged chunks that have been gouged out. And I thought that's a brilliant image for how I felt. Here's a big story of Twin Tapestries. So I went on a silent retreat for 11 days, compliments to my former colleague and friend, Guguletukue. Shout out for introducing me to Vipassana because I was spiraling. I was losing my mind. And I was in Annandale, and there's no counselors in Annandale. You have to book, and you may see a psychologist or a counselor or a social worker after 3 months. And I was losing my mind. I literally felt like I was going crazy. I was very reactive, and I wasn't the kind of person to sit and process things. Just with a cool head, everything would just make me cry or fight. And I was just like, I don't like this person. This is a problem. See? No. So I went to Worcester in the Western Cape, and I sat in silence and dealt with myself for 11 days. And it was still, to date, one of the most profound and blessed experiences and greatest gifts I've ever given myself. So if you can meditate and you can sit in silence, I highly, highly, highly recommend it, because it taught me equanimity, which is something I didn't have at the time. It taught me to be present and not focus on the past. So I'm not depressed and sad and castigating myself for my bad decisions. And then also not worry too much about what is to come. And sometimes I still do that. So when life starts to do this, I go in and I just sit down and shut up. And be like, okay, what's wrong in my body right now? Nothing. So I'm fine. And everything is going to be fine. I must just remember that in my meat suit, I'm all right. Everything else will be sharp, sharp. So I went and I did that. And then when I came back from the silent retreat, I was no longer in pain. I was on the periphery of it though. It was just there. Like there. So I was still fairly hurt, but I had some distance from it. Just a little distance, which helps me process. So if I can step away from the eye of the storm, even if I'm in it and it's chaotic, then I can process, and I process through writing. So I wrote the song about how I felt, how pitiful, how used, how stupid, how naive, how gullible, how weak I felt, I guess. Ugh. So I wrote it in 5 minutes. So it's essentially one of my favorite songs because I wrote it in 5 minutes, which means I did not have to think it through. It just came. It's just like, poof, open, out of my head. Done. At the time I was touring Subtexts with Daev Martian, we were at the beginning stage of like how we're going to perform and what's that going to look like. And I met with him and I said, I'm busy writing songs about how I feel about this album that I've got to release, because essentially this whole thing is a lie now, because I'm a side and here I was giving my all of myself to a person. Guys, never again. We are not doing it. No. So it came to me in this sort of rhythm, and I'll sing you the first verse a cappella. So and I sang this today. I was like, Daev, I want to do an album, and I'm angry and I want it to sound like intense and hurt and just sort of dark and menacing. And he's like, okay, and he listened to me sing it, and I sang it like this. The version that I wrote before I took the song to Daev went, I wish that you had the guts to tell me you were through before you found someone to replace me with, and I cried myself to sleep for weeks, haunted by pictures of her in your arms in public places, happy faces, making subtle hints of love when I thought I was your only love. How naive of me, thought you needed me. You kept saying no. How was I to know? And then later on, when Daev and I came together to make the album, I think we recorded Torn Tapestries on day one, because we recorded Torn Tapestries in 2 days. At least all of the songs we met later to do the interludes, which are the poems, like Chet Baker's an interlude. So we did that in the second session, which was literally 2 years later, actually. So that was us in 2020 making Torn Tapestries, just sitting in a studio trying to figure it out. All of it was sort of, at the time we recorded them frivolously. We weren't serious because we were thinking, nah, these are ideas and we'll get back to them. So when we did eventually get back to them at the beginning of 2022, literally in January last year, I listened to them and I was just like, I'm not re-recording them. They sound right. They're messy, and I'll tell you about the stuff in the sound that's not supposed to be there, that we were supposed to look at, and I decided to keep because I liked it. But anyway, here's the released, recorded, and produced version by the incomparable Daev Martian of Torn Tapestries, out on State Beats. That you had the guts to tell me you were through before you found someone to replace me with, and I cried myself to sleep for weeks, haunted by pictures of her in your arms and public places, happy faces, making subtle hints of love when I thought I was your only kept saying no. How was I to know? Hey, if we can't find us out, my confidence dissolved. My heart was flowing through you. Now my defenses are gone. Now my faith in love is brittle. You made me feel I'm weak and little. Made me feel I'm not enough for you. Showed me why I went from nothing, not too ugly, needy, not sexy, just skinny, pretty, made me doubt me. Was I not supposed to speak my truth? Was my truth too dark for you? How naive of me. Thought you needed me. You kept saying no. How was I to know? If we can't find us out, my confidence dissolved. My heart was flowing through you. Now my defenses are gone. Deny your love for the younger. Beauty who seems much easier than we so love but don't deceive the light. Deny your love for the younger. Beauty who seems much easier than we so love but don't deceive the light. We can't find us out. My confidence dissolved. My heart was flowing through you. Now my defenses are gone. You can't find us out. My confidence dissolved. Oh, my heart was flowing through you. Now my defenses are gone. Welcome, Tapestries. The lyrical breakdown. I wish that you had the guts to tell me that we're through before you found someone to replace me with. I don't think that needs an explanation. The words are telling you what happened. And I cried myself to sleep for weeks, which speaks to the time when I was not sleeping, not eating. You could play a xylophone on my bones. Just dark. You. Haunted by pictures of her in your arms in public places, happy faces. So that alludes to that mosaic I told you about where she posted a picture of them at a fancy swanky spot in a mosaic of mirrors, and she was leaning against his chest and he had his arms around her, and she wrote, "At my happiest in your arms." So that's the opening line of Chet Baker. So that was same. They have companions. Making subtle hints of love when I thought I was your only love, which speaks to how loving and romantic and cozy and comfortable they looked with each other when I thought that was reserved for just me. Hey, it wasn't. And then the pre-chorus goes, "How naive of me. Thought you needed me." That speaks to me feeling betrayed and small and brittle and used and awful and pitiful and humiliated. You kept saying no. How was I to know? So whenever I asked to come and see him and spend time with him, or whatever it was, he'd say, no, he can't, he can't, he can't, he can't. He can't allow me. Can't he? He was seeing other people. Hey, guys. And then the chorus goes, you weakened my resolve. My confidence dissolved. So I felt like I couldn't trust myself. I also lost a lot of confidence in myself in terms of interpersonal relationships and romantic ones. I still look at them and I'm just like, ooh, mm, oh. That's how I feel because of that experience, and it also made me wonder, like, who am I? Like, can I trust myself now with people because I blatantly ignored the red flags that those brow are showing? And yeah, I am stuck and broken, brittle, pellet, powder because of a person. So for a long time, and I'm still in a space of healing that. I don't trust myself with people. If I like you, I'm just like, whoa, there must be something wrong with you. Because I tend to attract cack. Excuse my French. My heart was woven through with you. Now my defense is evolved. So I'd woven myself, my heart, my feelings, my mind, my work, my livelihood into a future vision of us. Also, never gonna do that again. Mm-mm. Now I'm extra careful. I also became far more defensive. I'm a hell of a lot more careful. I don't let anyone in now. And then verse 2 goes, now my faith in love is brittle. You made me feel I'm weak and little. So that speaks to me, of course, feeling like I can't trust myself anymore. Me feeling weak, feeling humiliated, feeling pitiful, feeling small, feeling terrible about myself and my ability to judge people and people's character. Yeah, wasn't nice. It wasn't nice at all. Ah. You made me feel I'm not enough for you. Showed me why I ran from love. I've always had sort of a wariness, a tentativeness, a sort of very careful approach to love. The next line goes, am I too ugly, needy? Am I not sexy? Too skinny, not pretty? You made me doubt me. And that speaks to my confidence in myself taking a hell of a knock because I didn't feel beautiful. I didn't feel desirable. I didn't feel good about myself at all. And the next line goes, was I not supposed to speak my truth? Was my truth too dark for you? Which speaks to itself because I have a tendency to be quite vulnerable and open all the time. And I did that on purpose when I decided to make my own music and I tell stories about me. Like it's all me. When I do an album, it used to make me cringe. It's not as intense as it was. But I decided to talk about myself and what I'm going through and be open about it instead of hiding behind other people's stories, as I said before. So you can check that out. And I felt like that backfired and it was thrown in my face. Big time. And it exploded right here. The bridge or the middle eight goes, you deny your love for the younger beauty. Which says, because when I confronted him about it, he said, nah, you're crazy. You're lying. It's not what it is. It's not what we are. And I was just like, my beautiful brown eye beauty who seems much easier than me. The main was closer. So that was just easier for him to deal with than the girl in South Africa. So love her truly. Don't deceive her like you did to me. So that was a hope that he would treat her better than he treated me. And that is episode 20 of the Lyrical Breakdown featuring Torn Tapestries from my album Torn Tapestries, produced exclusively by Daev Martian. Thank you for tuning in. Again, you know what to do. Hit the buttons, hit the subscribe, hit the likes, and share it. Thank you, that's so.